A governor of the Federal Reserve just threw cold water on Donald Trump's message of a booming economy, and I have to wonder, if it's already small, can it get shrinkage? Think about that one. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. Conventional wisdom in American politics holds one truth above others. It's the economy, stupid. Bill Clinton's then strategist James Carville made the observation back in 1992. At the time, it baffled the political sect, especially the Republican Party, who thought that then President George H.W. Bush was a lock for re-election. Of course, Clinton, a little-known Southern governor, won election instead. Since then, politicians have always looked at the economy as a barometer of public sentiment regarding a president. That extends into the Trump era. Donald Trump inherited a booming economy when he returned to the White House earlier this year, though since assuming office, the market suffered significant losses before bouncing back. Then there's the matter of the jobs market.
A new warning sign on the economy. Just moments ago, the government delivered a major update on the labor market. It shows jobs growth is weaker, much weaker than previously reported. There were actually 911,000 fewer jobs created in the 12-month period through March of this year. So that makes it the largest preliminary revision on record. CNN business and politics correspondent Vanessa Yurkevich is in New York. Vanessa, as I just pointed out, this is huge, the largest revision on record. Walk us through what you're learning.
Well, this just signals in that time period from April of 2024 through March of 2025, the jobs market was a lot weaker than initially reported by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So 911,000 fewer jobs added over that time period. And when you average it out over those 12 months, you get a revision, a downward revision of an average of 76,000 jobs. Now, this is a report that comes out every single year. It is typical. It is a typical report. What is a little bit atypical about this report, it is much higher than what we've seen in previous revisions. So the average number of jobs revised down is a lot greater. Now, it's important to note that this time period that we're looking at, most of these months were under the Biden administration. Just 3 months of this report was under the Trump administration. But in terms of what it's telling us about the economy, it's pointing to key sectors that are seeing downwards revisions in the number of jobs added. Sectors like trade, transportation, utilities, down about 226,000 jobs. And then you have leisure and hospitality and professional business services, also with triple-digit losses in terms of jobs that we thought were there but are not there.
Yes, Trump has taken to firing people that give him facts he doesn't like, especially when it comes to jobs numbers. And it gets even more dire, so don't go away. Close to 1 million people have lost their jobs in the past year, and that doesn't factor in migrant workers who take menial jobs or anyone furloughed by the current government shutdown. In theory, those furloughed people will resume their jobs with back pay once the government reopens, though that probably won't stop Trump from trying to fire them. See our other videos for more on that. And now the news gets even worse for Donald Trump. In an interview this morning, Fed Governor Christopher Waller weighed in on those jobs numbers, the strength of the economy, and what's ahead in the coming year. Take a look.
Collectively, these 1,000 paper cut kind of data things tell us the labor market's not doing great.
How weak is the labor market, as your judgment from that data?
Well, like I said, I think the data that we saw with ADP is consistent with what we were starting to see with the BLS data. The job growth has probably been negative the last few months.
Wow.
Doesn't look like it's doing much better. Anecdotally, that's pretty much, I don't hear anybody with big hiring plans. All I ever hear is, we're not backfilling, we're not firing, we're holding off any job things. That's the anecdotal evidence that you want to talk business. So again, this is all consistent with whatever pieces of private sector data. And I think that's what you would get from the BLS data. If you came out and said it was 150,000 jobs a month, I'd be shocked.
Okay.
It wouldn't match anything else I'm hearing.
So there you have it. The economy is not as strong as it seems at first glance. In fact, key economists such as Scott Galloway have said that the market is actually only doing well because of the AI boom in tech stocks. On the whole, the economy is actually weak. And frankly, as we've seen in recent years, the market is no longer a great economic indicator, at least where everyday people are concerned. The labor market exists separately from the stock market, and if you need more proof, let me offer a personal example. I grew up in a town called Momence, Illinois. It's about an hour south of Chicago and has a population of around 2,000 people. In the past 10 months alone, 3 major businesses in town have closed, costing the local economy 800 jobs. Thus, almost half the entire economy just evaporated. And that says nothing of the tariffs on farm goods, which are having a devastating effect on the agricultural sector. There are communities all around the nation like Moments where the local economies have shrunk and people don't know how they are going to afford groceries. The irony is these small communities overwhelmingly supported Donald Trump in last year's election, and now he's ignoring them. And don't even get me started on the battle over healthcare subsidies, which allow millions in small towns to get healthcare, even when they're out of a job. Again, see our other videos. For now, consider this. Donald Trump isn't just standing by while the American labor market collapses. He's actively encouraging it with his policies. And he's removing social safety nets that would help struggling Americans survive. So what happens to everyday people when the jobs market implodes and they have no safety net? Let's just say it won't be pretty. So, remember to tell your elected officials to support restoration of healthcare subsidies, support your local businesses, and take part in the No Kings protests on October 18th. Donald Trump's vision for an American future is seeing his core voters suffer as suckers and losers. Let's send him a message that we have something else in mind. This is Occupy Democrats.